Hey, welcome everybody to podcast number 71. We went on about a month-long hiatus, I do believe it was. We were doing some matches from Calgary and Edmonton during the break here. First of all, we would like to thank Adam Weber for being with us for the first 70 episodes. He has decided to move his talents along and open up a spot for maybe a new podcast member. We don't know. We're in talks with some people. But just to bring in our sponsor of the week, we have All Star Bowling Sales once again. They have a promo code. We'll flash it on the banner later on in the episode. But here's our commercial, and we'll bring in our special guest. So I'd just like to thank the Wiseman twins for sticking it through another episode. Hopefully you guys don't leave us anytime soon as well. But
wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, not at all. Our special guest, Mark Miller, the secondary host that took over one of the weeks for us.
Thanks, Gary. Glad to be here.
No problem. So that'll be our first topic, Mark, the Calgary Clash. Brian Hurst came out on top after it was all said and done. How did that run, and are you guys looking at doing something like that again?
Yeah, actually, it went really well. Again, I'll kind of start from the beginning. I want to thank Bobby Kite for bringing this brainchild to life, and then for you, Carrie, and the 5-Pin Universe for being able to stream it for us. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we couldn't pick every top bowler from Calgary. There's lots of talented bowlers in the area. So for those bowlers, I'm sorry. If we do it again, I'll be thinking of you. But no, all in all, it was good. Brian Hurst played very well. We've seen some close matches, and hopefully we brought 5-pin bowling a little bit of media attention in this time of COVID-19. Right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't even know if we should call it COVID-19 anymore. Just call it COVID.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's going to be COVID-19, 20, 21, 22.
But no, everybody was good. Almost everybody that we asked came right away. We had some pretty cool guest commentators with Stacy and Rich Weber, Eric Christensen, Tracy Smith, Mike came on. And then Dex and Carrie, yourself, and then Tim, you weren't invited. We'll catch you next time.
No, probably not.
I was told to be nice to you.
It's good to be in a chat with gentlemen and Tim.
I like it.
So yeah, no, it was good. It was congratulations to Brian Hurst. Brian Hurst played really well. Probably averaged about 275, 280. So congrats to Brian Hurst if he's watching this.
Yeah, there were some really good matches. It's interesting, even if it's like, maybe not like on the same scale as like the tour finals and stuff like that. It's really interesting walking in there and having like cameras there and on you, behind you, and out in front of you, and knowing that there's people talking about you. And I think it affects people more than they think it's going to the first time they get out there. It's like there could be nobody in that building, but everyone's still watching. And you could definitely tell that some nerves get there too. And it's a good learning experience for people. And that's especially for those who do end up making like tour finals and stuff like that. It's amazing what a little bit of those experiences can actually help you with too. So yeah, it was super neat.
It's interesting too, right? Because these guys have been off for 4 or 5 months, right? And we're just throwing them right back into it. If they are being streamed.
Totally.
They're probably 8 games into a tournament. They're kind of already feeling comfortable, right? So, and then not just other matches going on. They are the match. You're the only match, right? You're the only.
Totally.
You're the only Spectrum. So
yeah, you are the sole focus.
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But But there was some nerves for sure, but went away after the first game. But I know some bowlers want to do over. But again, congratulations to Brian Hurst defeating Bobby Kite in the final.
Oh, Bobby Kite.
Would you say it was almost too quiet in the bowling center at sometimes?
As Rich would say, you could hear a pin drop.
Okay, because I heard it was too quiet. Yeah.
And if you listen very carefully, you might hear 5 pin drops.
Oh, or people talking, right? So yeah, that's what I heard.
Or people talking.
Sorry, give me 2 seconds while I go to the bathroom and vomit from Mark's joke.
Yeah.
No, I think it was really cool. We never had any negative feedback from what I understood. There was nobody saying anything about the format you guys chose. I know the last day was extremely long.
Yeah.
But it seemed to work out. Everybody was having a good time. I'm not sure how it was for commentary, Mark. I unfortunately haven't sat down and watched the whole thing. I kind of snippet through it. But how was commentating for that long a time? Was it all right, or did it seem to drone on a few times?
It droned. Well, if they were throwing strikes, it was fine, right? It was when the matches slowed down a bit. But we had some good commentators. We brought in Rich and Stacy, and we had Mike and Eric, right? So kudos to them for sticking around for 4 hours. And then we brought in Rob Wolfson for the final match, which kind of gave it a little bit of life. But no, overall it was okay. Yeah, again, a little slow, but we just didn't want to make these guys come back one more time. Because we could have done 2, 2, 2, and 1, right? For 7 matches, but we just decided to go 2, 2, and 3.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
It was quite enjoyable jumping in 5 beers deep. Hey, Dex, you're up. I'm in.
Yeah. late night bowling with Dexter. But again, lots of kind words came in, so I just want to thank everybody for watching, and I know other zones are interested, and as they should be. We need to get 5-pin bowling out there.
Yeah, I guess I kind of want to take a moment to address those people that messaged us and stuff. We got messages across the country. It's not a lack of not wanting to. It's literally a lack of time commitment. Unfortunately, a lot of us have full-time jobs, and finding time to not only do this podcast, which I think is really important, but also to fit in those matches. So maybe we can do Edmonton one week, and then the next week we can do another center or something like that. Maybe we'll get talking to some people and see if we can mix things up and spread it out. Because unfortunately, time is kind of the only factor here. So.
Oh, and by the way, I have not shifted your equipment back yet. It is not lost. Don't play even on post. That's Mark Miller.
Mark, just bring up with Melinda. Tell Melinda to bring it up this weekend. I'll grab it.
The package?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. You mean you want me to talk to her?
You are married.
Fine. No, that works. That's fine. Sounds good. What do you got going on this weekend, Tim? You got an EGM or what?
Yeah, an EGM. Yeah.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah,
you excited? You look ecstatic. You're just ready for it. Right?
I'm pumped for another 7-hour meeting. Yeah.
What's on the docket? Anything good coming up at the AGM there?
Well, yeah, we're just gonna try to figure out our lives, I guess. We have a lot to go on. We're gonna figure out how we're gonna run events and our protocols on day-to-day operations with AHS and all that other stuff. So. I just think it's just a nightmare right now, and obviously, like Dexter mentioned, that we all kind of sick of talking about COVID, but we have to, right? And I'm just very fortunate. At least our board is willing to at least most of us try to social distance. There, we can at least have a big enough room. We can all get in the room and do all that kind of stuff. Where I think a meaningful talk is a lot easier than over phone, because I can tell you a long meeting, you just end up pushing on mute and just start listening when you don't want to listen, right? So
I don't know who would do that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Everybody should be invested in.
I was invested for as long as I could for the other one. Yeah, yeah.
I guess speaking of meetings, the WCBT and the Autumn Open made a real tough decision here not too long ago. Mark, do you want to touch on that with the Autumn Open and Paradise Lanes?
Yeah, so just want to thank, again, Carrie and Dex. I didn't really talk to Tim about it, but you guys kind of gave me some words of wisdom. Sorry. You got A5 problems, Tim. Don't worry about it. But actually, Dex brought up a good point the other day, too, is AHS is slowly changing their rules. So right now, according to AHS, we are now allowed to travel in tournaments. However, if the people cannot maintain a 6-foot distance between each other, you're only allowed maximum of 50 people over a weekend. Unfortunately, that's just not enough to host the Autumn, and we're trying to get creative in ways where maybe we can ensure that there are pods and social distancing during the qualifiers, and then maybe run some sort of mini league 50 person at the end. But it's a nightmare right now. What we need is 80 or 100. But anyways, back to the point. Autumn Open's postponed. It's not going to happen Thanksgiving weekend. I want to thank everybody for hanging in there and maybe not taking the holiday off yet, but we're looking at new days, and we're just watching the AHS, and hopefully they can give us some sort of stipulations where we can run this tournament, because it's going on its 48th year, right? So we just want to explore all avenues, and sure, we're not going to be a committee to just throw in the towel. We want this to happen, but we want to make sure we're following the rules as well.
Mm-hmm. AHS came out this week saying that travel is allowed for tournaments, but they don't want to create cohorts for just a weekend. So I don't really understand how that even falls into tournaments. Really, I don't know how 99% of tournaments are designed to run in a weekend. So I don't know what that even means.
Gonna have to take up cycling, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's super bizarre. Mark, I did send in a tournament or a proposal to AHS yesterday, outlining how we would run TPC. And for those listening, that would be, again, playing in squads, as Carrie has suggested before. So on Friday, we'd run three shifts. On Saturday, we'd run 3 shifts. You'd have squad 1, 2, and 3. If you play in squad 1 on Friday, then you would only be able to play in squad 1 on Saturday. We cannot have people change in and out of those squads. So whatever that up to 48 people for us would be the same for Friday and Saturday, but that gives you an opportunity to play 2 shifts. That would have facilitate up to 144 individuals, which is not a bad number at all. Obviously, there'd be limited re-entries based on that because you can only play twice. But if we were able to fill that, we'd be looking in around 200 entries, right, which would be nice. There'd obviously be limited to no spectators. Just so that there's space in there. For the Sunday finals, for us and Regina, we've always ran the 32s all at one time. We'd probably go back to the way that Collingwood used to do it, where you'd have top qualifier pick either a 9 a.m. shift or a 10 a.m. shift. And from there, whoever's on that side of the bracket will play at that time. So we'd have 16 people play at a time at all times. It'd only be one-on-one. So the Sunday portion of it would be super easy to socially distance. So hopefully we can get away out of that, 50-person mini league cohort and not have to worry about that by socially distancing on the Sunday. So hopefully we've sent it in. Hopeful for a reply sometime soon. Am I hopeful that I'm hopeful they'll accept it. I personally have a little bit of doubt just because we've sent in a request for in Edmonton for our youth. We call it Youth Rep Travel League, and literally they just have teams made up from each center in within Edmonton area, and once a month they go and they play against each other. There's 6 events throughout a year. It is literally an actual mini league. Under 50 people, a literal actual mini league within the municipality, and they came back and said no, which is really interesting, and it really makes absolutely no sense to me at all. But the request is in for TPC. We'll see what they say, because if they come back and say yes, then we have that in writing, and we will figure that out. If they say no, then we'll have to go back and table that and work on something new.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, same sort of thing with Masters. Really, I'm going to send in another request from a different email and be like, "Hey, we run Masters," and for a tournament division, again, like, to me, I feel like this falls into that guideline really easily. They say you either have to socially distance or you have to follow the mini league protocols. And the mini league protocols, for those not in Alberta, is under 50 people if you can't socially distance. Our tournament masters division, and we're allowed travel now. So our tournament masters division is, under 40 people every year. I mean, it was, I think, under 40 last year. Newfoundland was the Nationals last year, and that's historically one of our largest entries for tournament masters. So I can't imagine that our numbers are going to go up with everything going on. So even if we have 30 people and we just have a cutoff date for this, it's like, you have to say you are playing and entered by this point. If you do not, you are not included in this cohort, because we cannot add new people into that cohort later on. So you have to be entered by this point. And then, to me, it's under 50 people. We have 6 events throughout a year. Well, I think so too.
Right? Well, I agree. Like, the Rep Travel League is exactly the same thing as this is, and how we got denied on it is beyond me. It's exactly the same thing.
I just think it's all great and stuff asking them, because obviously that gives you it in writing and covers your butts and stuff like that. But literally, to a point, if you're not obstructing any rules, there's no issues with it. Are we almost shooting ourselves in the foot by requesting these, and you get it to, let's say it's a paper pusher that just sees tournaments as no.
Yeah, totally.
It's tough. Like, Dex and I went on a lengthy discussion about it today. Like, I'm all for running tournaments, and we need to run tournaments. I just, deep down inside, I worry about it. One, because of the heritage kind of fiasco we had, right? And it was a different circumstance back then.
Way different.
But I mean, like, it's one thing if somebody can come up to a ball field and say, "Hey guys, you guys can't be playing ball, get out." It's another thing if they do it to a private business, right? And I think that hurts a little bit more, right?
I just think, like, you guys are, like, all these centers are running leagues now. I don't understand how these Masters tournaments are outside of the 14-day limits, right?
Yeah.
So to me, the contact tracing is there. Maybe not so much the social distancing, but the cohort situation is there. I just don't see a reason why it would be denied. I don't get it.
I totally agree. I had the same conversation with Tim. I was like, "Hey Tim, like, honestly, like, I don't know if I want to send in a request for this to see if they'll allow it, because to me, when I read the guidelines, it's clear as it to me, it fits in there very easily, but we need to look after the organization and make sure that, so we don't want to run it and then have something shut down. I think the TPC one absolutely needs a firm yes or no, just simply because the size of that event and the magnitude of, the travel for everybody else, because if they show up and it's shut down, I mean, that really sucks. That's really bad.
It's just crazy that in Alberta they opened up cohorts to multiple teams now. So, like, they said it was not a problem when they opened up bowling, but they kind of I don't know, it was underneath the carpet. They said, okay, yeah, you guys can do it, but don't say anything. And now it's officially out there that you can be, I can bowl, I can play volleyball, I can do all these other things, play ball, whatever I want to do, right? And play multiple ones if I wanted to. So what's the difference in us bowling this league, say on a Sunday night or our Thursday night league, and then us playing Masters, right?
Yeah.
Or my kid or one of my YBC kids playing qualifying to play a rep team. It's another league altogether, right? It's a rep league, travel league, and for it to get denied. But then I was talking to our Bowl Alberta director, and he said tournaments you must from what he talked to this guy. Now I don't know if it's in writing or whatnot, but when he talked to the guy, you have to bowl in a tournament. If you're bowling in a tournament, you have to bowl in your league from your league play team. So you only Carrie, Dexter, Katie, Jen, and Julie Kittle, right? And I'm like, well, where does that say that on there, right? So
that's not in the rules, though.
So that's what I was having an argument about, right? I don't see that being in there, right? So, I just it's frustrating. There's ways you can see it, and there's ways you can't, and I'm kind of more or less fucking pissed. I can't deal with this shit anymore, and I just, like I said to Dex, is like for just peace of mind, just going through HS and getting a yes or no maybe makes it a little bit easier. At least because somebody's always on your case, right? So
the issue too is you can put in paperwork and it takes a week or 2 or 3 to go through, and next thing you know, the rules have changed, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we
weren't allowed to
be. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. We weren't allowed to travel, 2-3 weeks ago. Now we're allowed to travel. It's all of a sudden in the documents. So I don't know. It's hard to follow sometimes. And
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Dex. Bye, Tim. What were you talking about, Dex?
What I was gonna say. No clue.
Okay, go ahead, Tim.
Okay.
but I was reading Chris's comment there, Bradford Chris. I mean, he goes, anyways, but it's crazy to think that at least in bowling, I mean, I was talking to some hockey players, like they had to dress their kids or themselves. They had to go full dress while they before they get in the arena and they had to put their skates on at the rink. There's no dressing room.
Oh, right,
so
right.
So imagine you're driving to the arena and you're wearing full pads, full everything, and then you're just
laying down in the back of a truck.
Then you're just carrying your skates in and your stick. But it's crazy though. Like I just think like I understand all these protocols, but I mean there has to be like a middle ground here, right? Because I don't know.
There doesn't have to be though. It's whatever they tell us is what we have to go by, and they're just simply not aware, right? We need somebody who's a bowler working for AHS to start doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's just like unfortunately any other organization, your lower level people that are accepting these applications, they're being told one thing and they get this certain guidelines. But let's face it, those guidelines are astronomically large. Nobody's going to know every in and out. And it's just like every other organization. Unfortunately, some, you might say, get denied at one point, you resend it the next day, somebody else gets it, it may be approved. It's a horrible way to look at it, but I've been doing government guideline stuff for quite a while, and I totally understand why some of this stuff gets turned around.
And they're getting I'm sure they're getting absolutely bombarded, right? All of a sudden, like 2 days ago, they're like, yep, you can do tournaments. Well, that they have thousands of tournament applications getting sent in, just being like, hey, like this is what we want to do, right? Thousands. And that's through Biz Connect too. So like that's not really designed for sport to begin with. That's designed for business. So they're still dealing with regular business stuff and then add in all this tournaments and
so I guess like the main thing I look at it is, as long as the tournament meets the guidelines and you have proper contact tracing, like everybody's pre-registered. You have mailing addresses, you have contact information for them. So if something ever did happen, God forbid, COVID enters the bowling world, but if it did, at least we would have a way to protect ourselves and say, you know what, these were all the people at this event, 14-day quarantine. We'll see you in 22 days at the next possible event. Like
Totally.
That's what the contact tracing is there for. That's to help protect the people. It's not to shun them away from playing any of these sports. It's to help them be protected if they do play these sports.
Absolutely. And the other thing is too, is like our community is like pretty close knit and everybody gets along really well. And I think that we're kind of at the point where we know what's happening with all this stuff. And I think there's like a mutual respect amongst all of us that, you know, if we were having our tournament masters and somebody's not feeling well, I think at this point people would have enough respect to be like, you know what, I'm not going to play this set. Yeah. I'm not going to play this set because, you know, if I am carrying it, I would feel terrible. And the other side of it too is like, you know what, TPC is one thing, you know, I don't know if I would suggest this for that, for a reason I'll get to in a second, but you know, if it's for tournament masters, if that means that, hey, a week before you have to go get tested, I don't care. I would do that. I would have no problem doing it. It's quick, it's easy, it's in and out. You're out in 5 minutes, and then everybody knows that at least for this week or when you started this week, you don't have it. TPC is tougher because of the people flying in and going through airports and stuff like that. That's difficult because you can definitely contract it much easier on your way to the event. So I don't know how effective getting tested ahead of time would be, but I think we could definitely find ways to ensure that everyone's safe.
So Luke, it was the same here in Alberta. It was four team mini leagues, and you said consider scratching 2 events just in case. Alberta already does that. They do a best 4 out of 6 for their Masters division. Gary asked about Masters Nationals. When does it have to be decided?
Okay, so Gary, we had a Masters meeting this weekend. I'm not 100% sure how much I'm supposed to say, but here I am, and you put me on the spot, so thanks a lot. Okay, so whether Nationals are a thing or not, as an organization, we will still be running tournaments. It's hard to say right now whether that's going to be to go to a Nationals or to declare provincial champions. And I know that's tough and that's a deterrent to people as well. But as an organization and with our mantra and our guidelines for our organization, we still need to run these events. We still need to find a way to create some funding. If we don't run the events the way that our mantra says, then we may not be allowed to get funding and casinos. So no matter what happens, we will be pushing forward and we will be finding a way to run these events at some point this year. Whether or not it goes to Nationals is another story. We are very hopeful that we will be able to. A lot of it will depend, my personal opinion will depend on what's happening around the country for Masters too. I know there are some that are starting later. Some are starting in March even. Next year. You know, I've seen some documents from Ontario. Nothing is like obviously canceled, but it definitely has a negative connotation to it. But that's here nor there. I mean, that could change in a heartbeat and they can maybe start running again in January or something when things start to get better there too. The biggest problem that we are facing is that we have a contract with our host hotel, and that's coming up at the end of this year for like a kill date on that. We need to renegotiate that because if by that date we don't cancel the contract, then if Masters Nationals isn't a go, then Alberta Masters is on the hook for an astronomical amount of money. I won't even say it, but it's a stupid amount of money that it would honestly cripple our organization for probably forever. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot on the go. I can't say whether Nationals will be a go or not. It's just way too early in the process. But obviously, as information comes out, we will share it with you. There's
Now-
my really long-winded answer.
Luke, on the other side, I know that your Quebec contingent, if I believe I saw the post that it was in, you guys aren't starting until the 2021 year, right? So that makes it even tougher for Alberta to be deciding this, right?
Right. So yeah, that's where the negotiation with the hotel will really play into it as well. So hopefully with everything going on, they'll be a little bit more lenient. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more lenient with everything going on. The nice thing is like this is not an independent hotel. It's not even a chain of hotels. Our host hotel is the Fantasyland Hotel in West Edmonton Mall, and they're from my understanding, West Edmonton Mall is doing fairly well. Hopefully, they can give us some sort of extension so we have a better idea of what's happening before then. It's just such a messed up world, right? So, yeah, we're working on it as we find out things, we'll let you know. But no matter what happens, we will be running Alberta Masters, so keep that in mind and please consider entering regardless of where this is going to go.
So I imagine, Tim, the A5 meeting coming up this weekend is obviously going to discuss for the scratch side of things, open, and then probably interprovincial for the rest. You guys are probably going to make a decision this weekend, or is it going to be a kind of wait and see kind of thing again?
Wait and see. I mean, obviously, we left the provincials for the open from last year still open for this year, but I for December until December 31st, but I can't see it running. So I really think that's going to be probably dealt with first of all, and then I think that I think we wait and see. But I mean, I don't know. I have ideas that we can probably try to figure a way to get some time on our hands. The nationals for a lot of these things is March or April or May and June, right? So if we can buy some time somehow creatively to run these events, especially the zone events, then maybe we can buy some time to get the provincials done, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is the big part. As for the national part, as I know, like the Atlantic bubble is a big problem right now, right? And the 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out, and when you go in the Atlantic bubble, a lot of you guys maybe already know if you go there, you have to be quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So for any national event right now, I know the government out there is pretty weary about hosting anything right now, even into end of May, early June. So it's kind of like a tough situation right now out there for. But I mean. Yeah, well, 8 months. There was 10. We're 10 months away, so it's a long ways away. But it matter again your events in order to go right, and we'll see it by time. But we got to figure out something for Alberta on try to run these events. I think a lot of it you can figure out, but I don't know. It's tough. Like it's at least we have an idea now. I didn't. An idea when we got shut down. Nobody had an idea what to do, right? So we've had at least an idea what we can fix now. So,
right. I guess kind of going back to Masters, I know there a while back, I was talking to Gino. They did zone qualifying for Masters. Is that an option that the Masters kind of kicked around, or are they kind of decided that since travel is opened up, that it's provincial or nothing?
Well, that's really hard to say. So our meeting was on Sunday. We got word that travel was allowed yesterday. So
Right.
None of that really came up at all. Well, no, that's not true. It did come up. We discussed it. I just don't know. I don't know if that's fair in any sort of realm. Mostly because, like, no offense to, like, Central, but like Heritage is a fair house, but it's far more difficult than like
Bonnie
Sherwood
Doon.
Park is, or Bonnie Doon is, or even Paradise Lanes is, and now Toppler's like really good scoring. Like, is that fair to people in the central location or south location or north location? Will they even have an opportunity?
What if I'm just spitballing here? What if you ran the first set of Masters tournaments in your specific zone, and then it opens up by, say, January, then you just flip-flop. The North plays in Central, Calgary plays in Central, and then Central just goes up to Edmonton or Calgary or whatever.
I just feel bad for Bonnie. She's bowling by herself, so.
Yeah. But that means she can show up late all she wants and still get her 8 games in. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But as of right now, so our first dates are, oh, man.
The weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So October the 17th and 18th. Aaron and I created a secondary set of dates as well in anticipation that the first dates wouldn't be able to run. That's December 12th and 13th. So we have that backup plan already. And if things continue to open up, I mean, I was surprised that travel was allowed to open up now. Hopefully by then, if we don't get a go-ahead for October, that's still 2 months after that. So hopefully we can get some sort of go-ahead for that. If that's not the case, then the other thing that we talked about, and it's not the best scenario, but it's a scenario nonetheless, is run the last 3 events, the last 4 tournaments, and make it best 3 of 4 instead. Ultimately, my personal thoughts is for tournament division, for sure, I want to try to do as much as we can in the same facility so it's fair and equal across the board. Just because there is such disparity in pinfall across the province.
If you guys would stop picking Bonnie Doon and Sherwood Bowl, then you wouldn't have those problems. But
no, it's easy. It's only 2 centers you want to go to right now.
Well, but Bonnie Doon is the only one that'll take Saturday. And you know what? I told Tim today we can have somebody else host Sunday, but yeah, good luck.
Hey man, a lot of those centers might take it because open bowling isn't doing that well. So
totally.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Obviously, hopefully things open up. Go ahead, Tim.
Just lock the door and have a private event. Screw it.
You're stealing that out of somebody's playbook. That's to be told later.
Yeah.
Too soon.
So I do have a pitch for you guys and for our audience that are in the chat. I really want to, because let's say Masters, the Open, stuff like that just isn't feasible or doesn't get the green light. Would you be willing to see, team play? So Sherwood Bowl decides to have a team, and Bonnie Doon has a team, Heritage has a team, Paradise, Chinook, and they do like a travel league. You go there, you can play on your own set by yourselves against the other team that plays on the other set. You can social distance, you can do all that, and you do a travel league once every month or once every 6 weeks and put some cash on the line, put some team sponsors up. And 5-Pin Universe would love to live stream something like that. Mm-hmm. Would you think that's more feasible since you can clearly social distance? You would have your 6-person cohort, your 5 players and a coach. You can make stipulations that you have a female player on a team. Like there's lots of options and lots of things you can do with that and fall well within Alberta's restrictions.
Well, I've always actually thought about doing something like this, and Carrie, I completely agree on this. Jen, I think it would have to come through us because it has to probably be Alberta, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, just to stay within our own restrictions.
But
maybe not.
Maybe not. But
if both provinces have the same restriction rules, there is no ban on provincial travel. So on the west, that is true. On the west side, anyways.
But I always thought once a month would be great, right? And you have your team or whatever, your captains or whatnot. Yeah, it'd be just the Anseth crew, right? So, but I always thought maybe like you had like a roster. That's what I always thought, maybe a roster, and you have a roster of 8 players or 7 players or whatever, and then that month you would only take 5 or whatever. I think that would work out well. It's a little bit more flexible, and then if people can't make it, you're not a big deal. I would be all for that. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, I think it'd be super fun. I think that's something we're missing in our game, and something that's like super common in the eastern provinces and Candlepin and stuff like that. They do those sort of tournaments all the time. I don't know why we don't have that a lot here, but I think that's a good idea.
I think it definitely fits Alberta restriction rules. It just makes a lot more sense. It's a lot easier to handle, and you would have your registration and stuff like that. Like Tim said, you have a roster, so contact tracing is not an issue. I don't know. I think if there's smarter people than me out there that know a little bit more of the HNS and are willing to help work on something like this. AHNS, my bad.
Yeah, you did
Sorry,
it again.
people.
You did it again.
dealing with OHS all the time. Alberta Health Services. If somebody wants to come up with some guidelines and see if we can make something like this work, I am more than willing to put a little extra time in each day to try and figure something like that out. I think it'd be a heck of a thing. Everybody puts in some money, and maybe you can gather sponsors if it gets live streamed. And
could you almost have like when you have NFL league or an NHL league, when you have a brand new team, what's that fee called when you put your team forward, you buy a team?
It's like a franchise fee. I don't know.
Franchise fee, and you can have a franchise fee, and those players can pay that franchise fee, and that'd be some of the money already up front for you guys for this stuff, where you don't have to pitch in each week. You said this is a franchise fee, yeah,
right. And then it's up to, I would assume you'd want to have a coach or a manager, somebody that would pick who plays on that roster that month or whatever the situation is. And then that team is up to them to gather the funds to play in that league. And then you can go to your local sponsors. You can get team shirts and stuff like that. And we know everybody plays in leagues and stuff like that, but I think it would be highly competitive, and we could really throw some production value towards it. And you never know, it might be something to look at in the future. As everybody enjoys on the weekend watching a football game. I know 5-pin's not nearly as exciting, but when you know the players and you know the situations and stuff like that, maybe it'll draw some interest from the 5-pin community across the country.
That's what you said the West Side, right? That's what it's missing. It's missing this make your own team high stakes tournament, right? Not qualify for a team, right? So would you be restricted to playing with players in your league, or would you open it to the center? Would you open it up to the city, or is there guidelines for that?
I think that would be some discussion in the league management to decide what our restrictions will be.
Yeah, I think it'd be totally cool if you had somebody like a captain, like the PBA does, and they draft the team, right? Because it'd be really cool to play with other people across. Because we already play enough with Edmonton people. I mean, I'm already over it, right?
You're right. I think that's a good idea for the future, Tim. I don't know if that's the right idea for now.
Because right now it's probably a lot easier to build your own team and get it in, right?
We need to have people within our own cohorts already.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So it's really hard for me to say, Mark's in my cohort.
Oh yeah,
he just lives all these kilometers away. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I mean, right? So I think at least currently it needs to be local selections. I don't mind the idea of within the center, but I don't know if that matters either. I know there's definitely 2 or 3 centers here that could field some pretty decent teams, but
I think just the team would have to pick a center. Like let's say you could pick anybody in the province or across the western provinces if Saskatchewan wants to get in on this, and BC. You could literally pick any center, but that would have to be a host for one of the weekends. You just couldn't pick a random place that will never host an event. That would be kind of the stipulation, because you would have to have a home series or whatever you want to call it.
So Carrie, I gotta know, where would you take your talents? Would you take them to Sherwood Park, or
I don't
would you
know.
take them to Heritage Lanes?
Kind of a free agent, ain't I?
To be honest, he probably played for Heritage. It's a lot easier to make that team.
Who's high average in your league right now, Tim?
Oh, my
This guy.
230.
Yeah. We'll,
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks. We'll start seeing when you need to throw a strike at 10 to win a match. Actually, no,
3-pin
that's-
guaranteed. 3-pin
That's the
guaranteed.
reason why you're doing so good, because you don't even know who we're facing or what we need.
That's right. No pressure.
There's no pressure anymore. I get it. That makes sense. Well,
yeah. Robert, you say you can be manager. To be honest with you, 2015 Open, you got no press sheets right. So that'd be a no.
Hey, maybe I take my talents to Heartland Bowl. We'll see.
Oh.
I love that you actually refer to them as talents.
Well, my 50-kilometer-hour speedball that maybe picks 3 pins half the time.
Yeah, I don't feel like Stetler's your best option.
No,
you have notoriously
not if we want to win at home.
That place is horrible pinfall. I mean, horrible. Best hot dogs in town, though. If you have a chance, best hot dogs in town.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love you, Robert. So I don't know. So the people out there, if they're listening or if they catch this podcast on the audio version, if you want to send in some thoughts, send it in to us on Facebook, or you can reach one of us. You know somebody's number. We'll try and figure this out and see if this is plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe BPG could sponsor a team, huh? DB can get on a team.
Oh, that Daryl, that's the only way Daryl gets on, but no, just kidding.
Tim's throwing daggers.
Well, I'm not very good. I'm only averaging 230. I went 3-pin deuce on Sunday, so I can't really. Not very good.
3-pin deuce?
I went
What? You can't even say you're rusty. You've bowled 2 weeks of leagues already.
left 3-pin, right deuce. Okay,
good adjustment. Good adjustment.
real good adjustment. Yeah.
Hey Miller, would you want to get in on something like this if that was a possibility?
Oh yeah, I know. Paradise and Toppler, between the two centers, there's at least enough talent for even Chinook. Calgary could send easily 3 teams. So
How many
maybe
teams
be
are we
looking at
at?
like 8. I think eight's just a good number, right?
Yeah.
So
But if
maybe
we get
3
to
Calgary, 3 Edmonton, 2 Central. I don't know.
literally, if there's teams out of Saskatchewan and BC that want to get in on and willing to make the drive, we can get the 16. We can do 2 separate weekends, right?
I think you get Mess and Hat Timo there. I think there's enough people that want to play out there.
Would they travel?
Yeah, I think they would. Troy Sykes and those guys and Larissa Long, those guys want to play. Yeah, I like, to be honest with you, if you look at Bonnie Doon right now, like, just don't have all the players don't bowl there anymore. Just with everything going on.
But the thing is like Sherwood Park has a lot of the talent. A lot of those players might go to choose to pick Bonnie Doon as their home center to play in the league, right?
We can field 2 or 3 teams if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Team 1, team 2, team 3. Yeah.
Would this be 5-pin
it's a
universe
good
or
idea.
WCBT?
5-pin
Carrie, would it be
universe.
5-pin? Oh, that's a good idea. That'd be cool. Well, we've been talking about it forever, right? Just within the city of Calgary, just, hey, let's get our 5 best players and play your 5 best players, and put a couple $100 down on the line and just see who's better. Just bragging rights, right? Get a little trophy and have the trophy at your center for the next for the annual, right? So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, Mark, you better actually play, and don't just pass yourself off.
I'll play.
Good. Still mad at you.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Anyway.
Robert. We if a smaller center wants to host a team and stuff like that, and they're willing to put the team together, we would make it work. We would if we could only have 4 players on an 8-lane, 4 teams in an 8-lane center, you would have a morning session and an evening session.
Yeah.
Right. It is definitely doable.
But,
we would never try and cut a center out if it's feasible.
Well, with that being said, we may not be able to host in every center anyways, because if we get to 16 teams, we are not doing 16 events in a year. 15 weeks, just like the NFL. Screw it. Screw Masters. Screw the Open. Screw WCBT at that point. We can't do that. We can't do that.
Could be a summer thing.
But you know what though? To be honest with
Yeah.
you, with the roster size, if it's large enough, then it doesn't matter. Not everybody has to play all those weeks.
And that's true. And that's
True.
also a good point too, Mark. You know what? If it is a summer thing too, or we could do an event on a Saturday in, Bonnie Doon. We could do an event on a Sunday in Sherwood Park. We can run it the same way as Master Duke. We could do 2 events in a weekend too.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Good talk. So what else
Sweet.
you guys got going on? What's going on during your COVID year?
Well, I'm sure Dex and Tim can attest, but I'm getting pretty tired of just starting leagues. Leagues is league players are coming back, which is good to see, but it's a lot of work to host at the moment. So, yeah, but it's good to see people back. It's just nice to see people unwind, because like the team comes in, they're so hesitant. I get them onto the lane. We tell them that they have their own set. They kind of get used to it. And then they start with the toe bumps with their teammates. Then they go to elbows. And by frame 5 of the first game, they're high-fiving and having a good time, which I think is huge for just your mental health, which is what a lot of people are struggling with right now, right? The disease of COVID-19 is bad enough, but I think that the mental weariness that it draws on people is just as bad, if not worse, right?
Yeah, I 100%.
Bowling is, at least for me, bowling is escape. And I've seen at least 400 people this week where they got for Paradise, they come down the stairs and they just forget about the world's problems for 3 hours and then go back out.
It was good. It was good. You know what? I agree with you, Mark. We're fortunate. I think we retained a lot of our bowlers. A lot of centers were really struggling, and for league wise, we only lost about 20%. And we kind of expected that. Yeah. I mean, some centers out here lost more than 40%, right? And so for us, I mean, we take that as a positive, and we're actually getting phone calls and new teams signing up right now. So that percentage is actually getting better for us. But you know what? Like our Thursday night league, I'm not going to lie to you, we kind of rigged shifts. Our fun team shifts are on one shift, and then the older team shifts is on the other shift, right? And so we all have our limitations and what our boundaries are. So our shift is a little bit more walking over and talking to people and enjoying it, right? And then it's just nice to see some people. My Sunday match, I'm not going to lie to you, was it was a lot. It was I try to social distance them, and within the first 2 games, it went to shit. And like utmost shit. And I'm like, okay, I had to send an email to my guys. It's like, hey guys, like I need you guys to try to social distance. Because it was bad. It was really bad. And the worst one was we have one of our dear friends of ours, a close family friend of ours, and he has cancer, and he's hugging everybody. He's like, what does it matter? I'm having surgery on Friday. It doesn't matter. And he's just like, if you know the individual, he doesn't give 2 shits, right? And I was like, you're part of the problem, Henry. You're part of the problem. And he's like,
wow. You did really good at not saying names.
Oh, Henry. But anyways, it's been really good, right? And it's just the open play needs to open up a little bit, right? Obviously, and looking at restrictions from that. But yeah, we'll get there. We have some ideas up our sleeve that we can introduce. That we're going to try to. I mean, you have to go down trying, right? So it's something we just have to keep going, right? It makes you wonder, like, and Mark, you can attest to this. It makes you wonder. Obviously, you can know which centers that when COVID was closing the centers, which centers were in there working on their centers when they were closed, because the centers that opened up that weren't prepared and still aren't prepared is I don't think is really much. It's unexcusable, I would say, right, for the sport. I think it's just sad. And the other part is I don't know. There's just no excuse for it. I don't know. I feel really bad about it, in a way, for the sport, because there's centers out there that are prepared and everything else like that. And I know some of the centers out here that are struggling, they put no time and effort into it, and now they're really hurting. And really, for the game of the sport, it should never be that way.
And ultimately, like, there isn't.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah, so ultimately there isn't a whole lot to even like super prepare for besides, maybe putting up some glass if you want to, some signage some places, and ultimately just staying on top of it and knowing what the regulations are at a time and just staying on top of that, and then just creating a scenario that you feel would be safe. Because if you feel like it'll be
Yeah.
safe, then the other people should probably feel like it's safe, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, it comes down to just optics and making sure that everybody feels like they're not putting themselves in danger by being there.
Yeah. And the other thing is, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say with our when we were contacting our bowlers, we were taking 5 to 10 minutes to explain everything, right? Not just, hey, do you want to come back to bowling, right? Like that was a big key for us as well. And I just wanted to say, I don't know about your guys' 55 plus program, but ours had 6 players drop out of like 60. It was we lost one team for the 55 plus. It's
very minimal.
Isn't that weird? You think it'd be the complete opposite.
So they're the most susceptible for sure, but they are the most susceptible without question. But you know what? They were also the ones that would drop in all throughout the summer while we were working because they just wanted to see a familiar face. And for a lot of them, they don't get any social interaction outside of bowling. And again, at some point, and you know what? This is not meant to sound rude, but like at some point, a lot of these people are nearing their final years of life too, right? But do you want to, if you're, realistically, you're 80 years old, right? You may have,
you don't want to hide
5 years.
Yeah.
You may have 10 years left. You may have, 20 years left, but you may have a year left. Do you want to spend the rest of your time just not seeing anybody? So again, at some point, you need to balance the risks of your mental health versus the COVID health. And a lot of the seniors, again, this is the only place that they get social interaction, and they just need to see their friends. We have one of our seniors who's how old is Kay? 88, Tim?
90.
She's 90 now, and she bowls in 2 of her leagues. She's an old teacher. You could definitely tell that she was a teacher. She's very, very strict and by the book, and she tells you how it is. And but she's a wonderful lady. And there's a lady that was on our team, Stella. She hasn't been bowling this year so far. She did quit, and she quit because her kids, I believe her kids live with her, and I think she has grandkids with them too. And they told Stella that she is not allowed to go out and be around people because she needs to stay home and be safe. Yet those people are going out every night, hanging out with their friends, doing their thing, and they're coming back home, and it makes no difference whether she's going out and being around her friends or not, because these people are seeing everybody too. So Kay was like, screw this, you're at risk anyways, come out and do something for yourself. So she's starting to come bowling this week, right? Because she just needs to see people.
So the Salville Center, which is a big recreational center out here. The Salville Center, one of our league executives on Tuesday, he does all the ice work and everything else, and he helps out with it. Their senior program is they can't get anything else. They can't get any more teams in. They're packed. There's 16 sheets out there. They can't get any more teams in there. But their men's night, 4 teams out of 16 are back. Their mixed leagues, 6 out of 16. He's like, it doesn't make any sense, right?
And I was going to say, the biggest demographic that we've lost is the millennials. We lost a lot of millennials and Gen Yers. A lot of the baby boomers came back, right? Baby boomers were probably 90% return rate, which is maybe chalk it up to loss of jobs or just the fear, not fear, but the information that social media can provide on an hourly basis for these people, right? Or if you're a little older and stuck to the internet, right? I don't know.
I think a lot of it's schooling too, right? A lot of people are worried about their kids in school, and they're waiting and seeing that. That's what a lot of them said. At the end of the day, and you know what? Like at the end of the day, if they didn't want to come back, I fully respect that. Just let me know. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
There's
time to
nothing
move
worse
on.
than they'll say they'll come back and then they just don't show up. And they're like, oh, I decided last second that it wasn't worth the risk. It's like, oh, I'm okay with that. Just tell me up front. That's okay.
That's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Crazy.
anyways, it's just my personal opinion. It is what it is. It's a virus. You're not gonna avoid this virus unless you don't see anybody at any time. It's just it's the risk that we all take by stepping out of the door every day.
Yep.
Not saying it's contagious. It's extremely contagious.
Yeah.
Prevention goes a long way, though. Right?
Correct. Wearing masks.
Sanitize.
We have big time. Yep.
Did anybody else see that video of see the video of Paul Rudd yesterday talking about the masks? If you haven't seen that, search Paul Rudd Como like mask wearing video. Everybody should go out there and search it. It is fantastic. If you don't love Paul Rudd already, you will after this video.
It is good.
So.
Oh, for sure.
So you guys got any stories? No? Story time? Come on, couple stories. Do you guys?
What stories do we have during COVID?
I don't know.
I met a guy with like a prosthetic leg. That was quite a story, but that's not a bowling related story.
Yeah, that's true. I got stories from other people if you want to hear them. I got so do you guys know who Stan Black is?
Corner with Mark Miller. Yes.
Yeah, do you guys know who? Well, I'll give you kind of this is probably one of the coolest cash tournament stories I've ever heard. Do you guys know who Stan Black is?
Yes.
So I was talking with Barry Ellert. Stan Black's passed away. But they went to the Rose Bowl one year, and I was talking to Barry about this recently. And Stan Black was in the 16s or the 8s of the Rose Bowl. Anyways, back in the day, you weren't allowed to drink at these cash tournaments. So for a little bit there was no booze allowed.
What?
yeah. So that was a shocker, right? I'm like, no booze? What? So anyways, Stan Black was notorious for having drinks. So he always carried a Mickey in his bag. Anyways, he was up substantially on his match. I can't remember who he was playing, but the way Barry said it was Stan Black kind of had him on the ropes after 2 games, and then Buddy called him out that he thinks he has rye in his drink. So anyways, before the judge, according to Barry, this is not my story, this is Barry's story. Before the judge could get to the drink, Stan Black goes, you know what? You want to win that bad? I'm out. And he just picked up his glass and walked away.
Wow.
That was it. Just walked out of the Rose Bowl.
That's
you ever think you hear a story like that? That's nuts, right?
Yeah, so, that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's almost like calling somebody out for personal bowling balls without an engraving. Weird.
Yeah, dick move, eh?
Yeah. That's how you get blackballed.
You wanna win that bad?
Yeah.
Have at her. Nobody will be around you anymore.
Yeah. And then what else? Have you guys Dex and Tim probably heard this story. You ever heard Tom Stevenson's story about the Invitational?
I don't think so.
Where the one he won? He was playing some gentleman from Quebec, and when you get to the finals, you get down to 2 games. And look at Dawson. Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm sorry, Don. How does that work? Oh, I'm just gonna take a bite of my Pringles.
Wait a minute. Was Pringles even around back then?
How did that work? Gotta get every crumb. I love it. Sorry, Mark.
So anyway, yeah. So Tom gets to the finals, and he's playing some guy from Quebec, and you play 2 games. The guy changed shirts after the first game of the finals, and Tom asked him what's going on with the shirt change? Were you getting a little too hot? And the guy goes, "No, I want to look good for my championship photo."
That's
Tom-
confidence.
Tom-
That's confidence.
Tom said he ran 7 from the gun and had him dead by the 8th time.
That's awesome.
That
I
is
wish I could see some of this stuff. You just don't hear stories or see stories like that anymore. We're all too nice.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's a very respectful community that we have now, you know?
Those old school guys.
Like I said, the only thing, like, I mean, was Ian Howe at TPC being like, I want to
Oh, yeah.
beat you, so I keep my record against you. That's my
Maybe
motivation. Like, okay, 380. Like, don't do it. We just there's a thing called bowling karma, and it will always bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
So just be nice, unless you're bowling Tim, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Then you could do whatever you want. It's fine. It's easy to mess with that guy.
Tim. Bye. I still have control over this. No.
Oh no. I'm gonna have to take that away from you. That was good,
that was
though.
a nice little surprise.
Kathy, you're asking about the numbers. Unfortunately, I don't keep track day to day. I know there was 120 or 130 more cases today, but overall, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but Alberta's been opening up stuff. I think it's due to mostly the schools. They're having some outbreak cases at the schools here in Alberta.
yeah.
But from what I understand, if they have an outbreak, because they have cohort classes, they just send the whole class home and the staff associated with that cohort for 14 days. So I think they're maintaining it very well, but we'll see. We're only a week and a half into the school season, so.
But an outbreak is only two
people.
Two
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, we currently have we're getting about 150 new cases a day, sort of thing. There's 1,500 active cases in Alberta.
Yeah.
Which still doesn't feel like all that bad.
No, it's being managed. It's not exponentially growing, right? It's kind of around the same number it has been for quite a few weeks. We were getting pretty low there in the middle of summer, but obviously with people being opened up and restaurants opening up, people doing stuff, you're obviously going to get an uptick in cases. But I think it's being managed very well. I don't think.
And a big number two is hospitalizations are way down as well, which means those who need to be protected are being protected.
We have 7 ICU right now, I think.
Yeah, 6. 38 in hospital and 6 in ICU.
Yeah,
which is all in all not a bad stat.
Yeah. So obviously, as long as people stay respectful and sanitize and all that good stuff.
That's Robert's alcohol
level.
Yeah.
No, that's blood to alcohol level.
Yeah. And hopefully Ontario obviously gets it under control. I don't know if that's a serious outbreak or if that's kind of what they've been pulling every day. I'm not too sure, Kathy, but obviously if they're looking at reducing it, there's got to be something to it.
It's in my my opinion, I think this is positive news. I think what they're doing is slowly reopening, and it's back to bowling. It's good for bowling. It's as long as we're doing it the right way, right? We're protecting the people. We're social distancing. I'm really looking forward to potentially hosting an autumn open that where we can keep everybody safe.
Absolutely.
On a serious note.
I kind of dislike that every time those comments come up, it like literally blocks my entire face. Every time, like
I turned the feature off here. I'll turn it back on for you.
Oh no, it's fine.
No, you're bumped up now. All right.
Cool.
Well, I think guys, we'll wrap this podcast up.
Yep.
Mark, I can't thank you enough again for joining us.
You
are one of the hopefully applicants that want to join the podcast full time, but you'll let us know.
Oop.
I really like that you took her last name, Mark. That's brave of you.
What's that? Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's brave. That's progressive.
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Yeah. When your mother-in-law is a Canadian president or a Canadian flag president. Yeah. I don't really want to be on the show too often.
Oh, come on. Be your own man. Yeah, Mark Bruno. Who's Mark Bruno?
Yeah.
Right
there, Timothy. I can't. Yeah.
Mark, please hang out for a couple minutes after, and we can just chat about life. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
All right. Just one last thank you to all the patron members that are still supporting us. I know we took that month hiatus, but obviously we're doing a little bit of other things. But we're going to continue trying doing this podcast and hopefully doing some of these challenge matches throughout the next, hopefully, couple months before things get rock and rolling again.
It may not always be podcasts, but we'll try to get media out every week of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to help support us, the banners are going to scroll across the bottom here. You can just find us at patreon.com/5pinuniverse. And you can become a patron as low as $2 a day, or $2 a day. Yikes. Don't do that one.
Don't do it. Do it.
Or do it.
Do it. Like,
$2 a day.
Oh, man. $2 a month, or you can go up for the upper tiers and get some perks. We're going to try and introduce some more stuff and get a little bit more involved and get this thing rocking and rolling.
If you do the $30 one, you can have a one-on-one Skype session with Tim Wiseman.
Oh, and he'll dress sexy for you.
No,
too.
you want people to pay.
Oh. $5 handies, I heard.
They're not going so well.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Peace out. Thanks, guys.